Good morning, everyone. This is Tim with your Sword of the Spirit podcast. Okay, guys, today we're in Mark chapter 12. And in this chapter, 3 different people come up to Jesus, the Pharisees and the scribes. The first 2, they're trying to challenge Jesus. They're trying to trick him up. And they ask him different questions, and they're trying to see what his answer is so that way they can accuse him and say, hey, you're not being scriptural. You're out of order. We need to get rid of you. And he puts them in their place. The third person, the scribe, it's a little different. The Bible says that he heard what Jesus had to say, and he said, Master, you're saying this well, and what's the first and greatest commandment? And there's something different about him. He hears Jesus' response. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, there is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And he says, you're answering right. Well said, Master. And as they begin a dialogue, Jesus tells him, you're not far from the kingdom. And I like this answer he gives him as opposed to the first 2. You see, the first 2 were trying to tempt Jesus. Jesus told the devil at the very beginning of his ministry, thou shalt not tempt the Lord your God. It is written, you will not tempt me. But this third person comes to Jesus with a different attitude. He's, at this point, he's interested. He's hearing and he's saying, hey, maybe there's something to this. And that's, that's available for us today. The Bible says to try the spirits to see whether they be of God. That is, is what I'm hearing biblical? Is what I'm hearing scriptural? The Bible says in these days that there's going to be false teachers. There's going to be people proclaiming to be Christians. They're going to say things that aren't biblical. And it's okay for us to go back to the book and say, hey, are you really in order? Is this really correct? And this is why it's so important for us to know our Bible. This is why I'm challenging you, to get into the book and to read it. And that's why we're posting these from time to time, to get people just to go back and read, even if it's just a tiny little bit, just so that way they're comfortable. So when someone says, hey, did you hear this? Or more importantly, when someone, who claims to be Christian, tells you the Bible says this, this, and this. Well, yeah, it does. I've read it myself. Or, no, I think you're taking that out of context. And that is perfectly okay. So, folks, my prayer today is for wisdom, that you read this chapter and you keep reading because it's starting to get better, all right? We're now making our way over to Easter Sunday. We're getting our way to where it gets really, really good. So just stick with it. Y'all have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time.